Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Geog here, day 2 of writing. So first we're going to start off reviewing questions 15, 16, and 17 from Monday's lesson. So if you could flip to question 15, it looks like this. And we are reviewing the questions that go with the interview with the marine biologist and the interview with the wildlife officer. So go ahead and find that packet, and I want you to check your work as you go. So the first question was, an interview with the marine biologist, Chris Meyer, what is the connection between the sentences in the section titled, What's Your Favorite Animal? So your job was to go back and reread that section titled, What's Your Favorite Animal? Well, my favorite creature is certainly the cowrie, which is a type of snail. I mean, they're spectacular and they're beautiful, they're very shiny, and most snails aren't as shiny, or maybe they're only shiny in the middle where the animal comes out. So you need to be asking yourself, what is the connection between those sentences? Is it giving a list of the snails that Meyer studied? They compare features of different snails. They introduce a problem that Meyer discovered about snails, or they describe what causes some snails to have shiny shells. Now, let's go through some of these answer choices. The only type of snail that is listed is the cowrie. So choice A is not correct because it does not give us a list of other snails that he has studied. Choice B, they compare some features of different snails, comparing shiny to other shells that are maybe not as shiny. So choice B could be our answer. Choice C, they introduce a problem that Meyer has discovered about snails. I did not come across a problem while I was reading that section, so no, choice C is not correct. And then choice D, they describe what causes some snails to have shiny shells. There was no cause and effect. We were not told the cause, so choice D cannot be correct as well. So that leaves us with choice B. They compare some features of different snails. And the reason that this is correct is because Meyer uses comparison to help explain why the cowrie is a special snail and it's also his favorite. So choice B is correct. If you did not circle choice B on your answer, go ahead and circle choice B so you can use this packet as you review. Now we're going to go to question 16. In an interview with the federal wildlife officer, Gabriel Harper, which section of their interview explains why Harper uses cameras? So we're looking for the reason why he uses camera and where that's included in the passage. So I'm going to go back to that article. We're going to scroll down. And we know that this section and this section explains some of the different tools that he uses, and we know that a camera can be a tool. So we're going to read over this. I have my trusty GPS that I can clip on me and I can make sure I get back to my truck when I need to. 13,000 acres is a lot of woods. You know how you do a few turnarounds and you don't know where you're heading. The next section says there's 13,000 acres at Patuit's Research Refuge, so I can't be everywhere. So I have to use cameras. So I have these cameras set up. These are hunt cams where I can set up different areas on the border and I can see what's going on. So right here, he's talking about setting up cameras because the land is so large. So the title of this section is, What Other Tools Do You Use? So we'll go down, to question 17. 16, sorry. What other tools do you use? That is where we will find the use of his cameras. Question 17, read the sentences from both interviews. If you're interested in pursuing marine biology or any kind of biodiversity, which is a variety of life study, I would encourage everyone to just get out. That is a quote from the marine biologist. The second set of sentences, if you feel the need you want to protect the resources and wildlife, then being a federal wildlife officer would be a perfect line of work for you. This is from the interview with the federal wildlife officer. So which idea do both sentences try to explain? So we're going to see this one and this one. What are they trying to explain to us? Are they explaining the importance of being outdoors? how to figure out if you might like a certain job, how to encourage people to become interested in science, or the steps needed to gain knowledge about an area of study. The correct choice is B, how to figure out if you might like a certain job. If you're interested in pursuing marine biology or any kind of biodiversity, get outside. That's what he wants you to do, to see if you might like that job. Or if you want to protect resources and wildlife, types of wildlife, then this would be the perfect job for you. So it's kind of helping you figure out if you would like that certain job. So the correct choice is choice B. So that was just a review of yesterday. So now I want to talk to you about our focus for today. So today's I can statement is I can compare details from two passages. And we know that we're reading two articles. One is about wildlife and one is about marine biology. The point of reading those two articles is we are going to respond to those articles. So we are going to use two informational passages to write a narrative. And everybody knows that a narrative is a story. So you are going to have the opportunity to write a story. So let's read our prompt to make sure we really understand what we're doing. Imagine that you are a marine biologist or a wildlife officer. Write a short story about an adventure you have during a day at work. Use ideas from one interview to help you write your story. And we know that we've been provided with this checklist down here to help us include these things. We will refer back to this checklist, but just a couple things I wanted to point out to you. Use dialogue, so we know our characters are going to be talking. We can develop a real or imagined experience. So this is something made up because you aren't a marine biologist right now, or you're not a wildlife officer, so you get to make up what you want to happen. But we need to make sure that what we make up makes sense. So if you're going to be a marine biologist, it needs to be about being in the ocean. If you're going to be a wildlife officer, your setting is going to be in the woods or on a lake. So some things to help you determine which one you want to be is by using a Venn diagram. So we're going to compare and contrast the two articles and kind of get an idea about what those jobs are. Now you can draw a Venn diagram. It's just two circles with a space in the middle where these things are similar. Now this is just to help us choose which career we want to take on the role as we write our prompts. So I'm going to go ahead and title mine. And you can write this on your paper. And I know in reading you are also comparing and contrasting two books. So this is informational and what you're doing in reading was fiction. But it's great practice to do both. Now, one thing I want to point out is we know that they both work outdoors. So that's something that we can put in the middle. And then in order to be able to fill out each side, you would do a couple bullet points. So that means just a couple facts for each side. So if you're going to talk about a marine biologist and you're going to go back to the article and you're going to gather some important information about this marine biologist, the study of the ocean and all the animals and creatures that live in it. So I'm going to take that information from this article and I'm going to go put it in my Venn diagram to have for notes. Study of ocean creatures. So if you are somebody who loves the ocean, you love marine life, starfish, fish, dolphins, then maybe this is a good career for you. And then if I'm talking about what type of animals and creatures they study here, I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. So I'm going to now go to the wildlife interview. And they study wildlife all around them, but their job is to protect. So their primary purpose is to conserve and protect the land where the wildlife lives. So this is more of a protecting, but they help with fishing and a lot of hunting and outdoor laws. So we can talk about animals that live on land and in forest. So animals like fish, deer, excuse my spell check. Okay, well, it's freezing right now. All right, so what your job is, I want you to reread each interview, and you're going to decide which career you would like, either the marine biologist or the wildlife officer. So as you are deciding that, you're taking notes to include in your narrative, things that you're going to mention in your narrative about how they protect animals or how they study animals. So you're going to continue to fill this out on your own, and you can upload a picture of it to Seesaw if that's how your teacher is monitoring your progress, or you can just keep it in your notebook for your teacher to see when you get back. And then moving forward on Wednesday, we're going to start taking this information and start planning our story. So that's something to be thinking about. But all I need you to do today is reread each interview, decide which career you like, because tomorrow we're going to start planning our stories. And you have to know, am I going to be a biologist or am I going to be a wildlife officer? So go ahead, fill out the Venn diagram, and decide which career you want. And I want you to ask yourself today, did I hit the learning target? I can compare details from 2 passages. All right, talk to you tomorrow, boys and girls.